and welcome to another episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. I'm Mike Evans.
And I'm David Price.
And David, on this week's riff, what are we going to be talking about?
It's the Sonos Beam. What are you laughing at?
Well, Sonos for a start.
Yes, I know, but it's the truth that dare not speak its name that actually apparently quite a lot of people think Sonos is hi-fi.
We're keeping up with the kids here, aren't we?
Yes, absolutely.
So it's the Sonos Beam.
Yeah, and the mini sub.
The mini sub.
And
yes.
That's a subwoofer mic. That's a speaker that does the low end, the bottom end, and it's particularly helpful when you don't have any bottom end in the main part of your system.
Thank you for explaining that to me.
So you might like
Baracona. I don't need one of those.
Yeah, well, your Icebergs have got several subwoofers. I
That's
think
probably
about 4,
the truth.
haven't they, built in?
Yes,
So.
yes, absolutely. So look, this is an interesting product for us to review, isn't it? We wouldn't. How can I put this politely? We wouldn't normally consider this a hi-fi product, would we? Is that fair to say?
Yes, because it isn't.
Because it isn't a hi-fi product. No, sure. So why are we actually reviewing this?
I'm not sure.
Okay, right. So let's go back a step. So Sonos have been very kind enough to send us one of the beams and the subs to review. So we thought, look, out of due diligence, we thought, and maybe a bit of a sense of humour, we would review it.
Yes.
So let's start. So we plugged it in and we set it up. Now you and I have set up. I don't want to count how many wireless speakers, Bluetooth speakers, and network speakers, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's fair to say that more often than not, they're incredibly difficult to set up and get working,
Yes.
aren't they?
Yeah.
And well, this is why I don't have any hair, I think, to start with, because they're so frustrating. And Sonos isn't like that.
No, I think we were both, because when we reviewed it, we kind of allowed about an hour of fiddling around and faffing around before we'd actually get to...
Yes.
So imagine our surprise when it was working within about 3 minutes.
And it was so simple, wasn't it, to
Yeah.
set up? So, that is, I think if you're going for a mass market product, that has to be priority number one, doesn't it? To have a really good software package, a really great interface, and a really simple setup. And they've nailed that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely nailed that. So,
Yeah,
great.
and to the shame of everyone in the hi-fi industry.
Isn't that the truth?
They make it look easy.
They do, I'm afraid. They make it look easy. You heard it here first. So we've got it set up. And we kind of plonk it on your kitchen table.
Yep.
Because we're thinking, well, no one's going to put a Sonos on, £1,000 speaker stands and all of this stuff. So we plonk it on your kitchen table and we stick the subwoofer on the floor, and we stream. Well, to be fair, we gave it a good crack of the whip because we streamed from your network. So we were streaming from pretty high res, decent sources. We weren't Bluetoothing or anything like that. We're trying to get a decent source in.
Yeah, proper job.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we were a little more than surprised.
Yes, I think because it sounded moderately good when we were expecting it to sound absolutely abysmal.
It
I think
totally outstripped our expectations.
Our very low expectations.
Our very low expectations, it did.
Yeah.
But it was. I think what I expected was a bit of a sort of screechy old unit which sounds mono.
Yeah.
And then a subwoofer that just sort of goes like we've heard so many that do.
Yeah, basically like a lorry driving by.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like that at all.
No.
Actually, the treble top end was really quite sweet, great clarity. Okay, no real stereo separation, but the soundbar's a tiny little thing, isn't it? You wouldn't expect really anything from it.
Yeah, I mean, let's remember it is a soundbar.
Yes.
So, I suppose the most people would just buy it and stick it under the telly, wouldn't they?
Exactly.
Us being a serious audiophile setup, decided not to bring the TV into it at first and just listen to it in terms of music. But it was plonked on the kitchen table, as you put it, and it wasn't horrible at all.
No, and the subwoofer worked really well.
It did,
because it actually didn't just go warm, warm like a lorry driving past. It actually brought a lot lot of value to the system.
Yeah, you could actually almost not hear it.
Isn't that a weird thing?
Yeah.
So that's hard one to explain.
Me being me, even though the Sonos app had sort of self-calibrated everything during the setup. It knew what was on the in the system, and it did a little test tone or something, didn't it?
Yes,
and
yeah.
Got it, set itself up. I thought, well, it's obviously not working because I can't hear a kind of lorry driving by.
No. But it was very subtle.
It was very subtle,
and it actually worked really, really well.
Yeah.
Which left us in a bit of a dilemma.
Yeah.
Because what do you do here? It's actually a really nice subwoofer and soundbar. It actually sounds really, really good. And of course, the problem here is I don't really want my wife to hear this because she's going to say, and she won't believe what she's saying, but she'll say something like, "Oh, I can't tell the difference."
Yes,
and she can
with your exposure sort of six pack and isobarics.
Exactly, quite.
Yeah.
But what she's really saying is, can we swap all of those boxes and huge speakers which sit in the living room for this lovely discreet little soundbar?
Yeah, costing £429 for the soundbar and £429 for the mini set.
Exactly, which is sort of half the price of your cartridge. On your turntable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's lower than your total mains plug bill. Given you've got about 15 mains plugs going into your Hi-Fi.
It's so true.
It's
so true. But so there's the rub, really, isn't it? I mean, it's a really discreet little system. It's easy to set up. It sounds pretty decent.
Yeah.
What's not to like? I guess the thing I've really loved about entry-level hi-fi is you see it as a stepping stone into proper hi-fi.
Yeah.
So I'm actually, as you know, a big I embrace the mobile phone as a source.
Oh, do you, Mike?
Because you've got every song in the world.
Is that thing that's permanently welded to your hand?
That's it. You've got it. but it's you've got the world in your pocket. And when we were growing up, we were spending our money on vinyl.
Yeah.
So we there were a million albums we'd have loved to own, and now we do.
Yeah.
But all you have to do is get the sound from the phone, and you've got this upgrade path. So kind of bear with me on this one. So that's great, and I love that, because I think if you get into hi-fi that way, then the next thing is you're buying bigger speakers and a new amp and a better DAC, and you're appreciating it, you're loving it. But I don't see this as being the same product. I see this as a sort of bit of a dead end product.
Yeah.
You buy the Sonos soundbar and you buy the subwoofer, and that's it. Do I really need any more, kind of thing? It's not quite hi-fi enough to get you yearning to have more hi-fi.
Yeah.
For me,
also anyway. It's so good up to a point
yes.
that you kind of don't think you need one,
yes.
Unless you've really heard a proper hi-fi when you know what it will do. But
absolutely.
For most people who haven't really heard a proper hi-fi, then that's basically, the Sonos is basically a hi-fi, isn't it?
It is, yeah, so, absolutely.
Because it's way better than any of the kind of crappy Bluetooth speakers and that kind of stuff.
Well, you nailed it earlier, because you said, what was our equivalent when we were, I don't know, 17, 18, and it would have been a music centre or a stack system or something like that. And again, that wasn't for us proper hi-fi. But once you've heard your first system, your dual CS505 turntable with your NAD amp and etc., and your bookshelf speakers,
your KEF coders,
exactly, that was an amazing system. That was just a fantastic system.
And that was a gateway drug. You were off on your journey, weren't you?
Yeah. Riga Planner 3 was the next stop, and and the sky's the limit. And look where we are now on the back of that.
Yeah.
But I can't see that. I can't see this Sonos product doing that with people. Who it's just not quite the same, is it?
I know it's kind of like the hi-fi system of Satan in a way.
Yes.
Because it makes everyone who doesn't know what proper hi-fi sound like think it's a brilliant hi-fi, and then it kind of draws under a line under your future expenditure on hi-fi.
It really does, yeah. So, it makes your wife happy.
Yes, I know, which is absolutely not what you want to be doing there.
And once you've had the setup experience, you don't want to faff around with the hi-fi setup experience, because that's just frustrating as heck. It's a difficult product. So I've kind of got massive mixed feelings about
absolutely.
it.
The problem is it's actually way better than it should be at the price.
Yes.
Right across the board in terms of setup, in terms of the sort of way it plays kind of basic, music as well. It plays it surprisingly well. And it sort of lulls you into a sense of security that you don't need a proper hi-fi if you haven't heard a proper hi-fi.
Sure.
Therefore makes your other half think that any of your kind of plans to get a sort of 6 pack exposure and Lin isobaric or whatever the modern equivalent is basically a complete waste of time.
Absolutely. So don't ever tell your partner
keep
about
it away from
your partner.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly.
Your hi-fi potential loving partner.
Yeah. And if you're ever going shopping in John Lewis or something, and she's there,
Too dangerous.
and she says, "Ooh, that looks nice. Can I try that?" Then feign a heart attack, quick. Just keel over. So
absolutely,
get that out of her mind. It's too good for to be anywhere near, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I mean, here's the rub, right? So if you do own this system, well, great, and we understand why. And in fact, as I say, we were pleasantly surprised actually as to how good it was, because we did think it was going to be proper garb.
Yeah.
But I beseech you to actually just go and listen to a proper hi-fi system. So if this is, say, getting on for £1,000, I'd say for another 1,000, and this, we've got a great law of diminishing returns opposite here, haven't we?
Yeah.
So you spend another 1,000, you could get something which would blow your socks off. If you think this sounds good for £2,000, you could have something really quite amazing, a streaming system or even a vinyl-based system, something like that. So getting somebody to do that's the hard part if you own the Sonos.
Yeah.
But if you do own the Sonos, you would not be disappointed at all. It's almost like because it still sounds quite mono, because it's such a tiny thing. For me, going from that to almost any proper stereo hi-fi system is like going from a Morris Minor to a Porsche.
Yep.
It really is, and it's that big a difference sound quality wise.
Yeah.
So I would say, look, all you Sonos Beam owners, great, all good, but stick it in the spare room.
Yeah.
And go and buy a proper £2,000 hi-fi system and get the most out of your records, your vinyl, your CDs, whatever it may be. That would be my heartfelt advice.
Yeah.
So use it as a gateway drug if you can, and it's not the be-all and end-all.
Absolutely, just handle with care, because it'll fool people into thinking it's real hi-fi,
the real deal.
because it is better than you and I expected.
Very much so.
We were kind of quite crestfallen when we switched it on. It's like, oh,
yes.
So we're expecting it to be, kind of
put your fingers in your ears.
Hide behind the sofa job. So,
but I think it has a place as well.
Definitely.
So I think if you have a spare room with a TV, it'd be a great little soundbar. It'd be fabulous.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's super slick. It's in every way, in the design, in the appearance.
Yes.
The build quality is surprisingly good.
Really good.
For that sort of product.
Yeah.
And it's on another level from a kind of cheap, crappy Bluetooth type speakery thing.
It is, and even little things like the unboxing experience is really nice.
Yeah.
You kind of get it, don't you? It feels premium when you're doing that.
Yep.
Some of the hi-fi products we reviewed, still come in sort of styrofoam.
With kind of egg crate
exactly.
boxes.
Yes. Yeah. But hence is the nature of the stuff we listen to.
Yes.
There we go. But no, it's been for us, I think, a really interesting experiment. But again, going back to at the moment I've got a Riga 3 set up.
Yeah.
Which is £800 turntable, and with a fairly cheap amp and speakers, and it sounds lovely. And you do the comparison, and it's night and day, absolute night and day.
Yeah.
So there we are. So there's our advice.
Yeah.
Buy it, but don't buy it.
Buy it, but don't buy it.
There we go.
So
that's a Hi-Fi Riff classic there.
I'm not sure what you mean by that, Mike, but I think I probably agree anyway.
Absolutely.
And keep your other half away in John Lewis. Go straight to the the wine section or whatever they've got there.
Yes.
So don't be going near anything like that.
Buy a new sofa instead.
That's it. Yeah.
Are we going to do a riffometer on this?
Yeah, I think we should.
It's going to be a tricky one.
I know it's got to be like caveated by sort of lots of things though. So if you want that kind of thing, it's probably a 9.5, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's really good in that respect.
In
that kind of thing respect.
But for the danger that it poses to audiophiles who are in a relationship, then zero.
Yes, a comfortable zero.
Yeah.
Which is kind of doing it down really, because it knows its place.
Yes.
And its place is at the pretty much top of the tree of budget soundbars and subwoofers.
Yes, it's places where your decent hi-fi used to be.
Yes, exactly. Oh, heaven forbid. But there we are. We're being hi-fi snobs, but no change there. I think we're snobbish and proud of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm with you. It's a 9.5 or a 0. Yeah. Depending on your outlook. How we're going to score that, God only knows.
God only knows.
Such is. Yeah. Anyway, there we are. Sonos Beam and subwoofer review.
Yeah.
Box ticked.
Absolutely.
We'll go back to normal hi-fi.
Yeah. Normal service will be resumed.
Service will resume next week.
Exactly.
Excellent. But in the meantime, thanks for watching this episode, this unusual episode of Mike and Dave's Hi-Fi Riff. And we'll very much look forward to seeing you in the next one.
We'll be off the drugs by next week.
Yeah, this is April the 1st. Thank you very much for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.